It has been over a month since Call of Duty said they would talk about their matchmaking. In late November 2023, they said, "We know there's a lot of interest in the matchmaking experience, especially around how skill contributes to how lobbies and matches are put together. Nothing is more important to us than the experience players have with the game, and matchmaking is a big part of that. We've been working on our matchmaking system for well over 10 years, and we continue to spend a ton of time and energy on improving the matchmaking process. This involves people working at our Call of Duty studios, our back-end services teams at Demonware, and other groups like our Player Insights team. It's a large effort that we've worked on for many years, and our approach combines latency, search time, and skill, along with many other factors, to try and find the best match experience for you. Talking about this topic in detail can be hard, and we haven't spent the time to pull together all of our work to share with you our insights and improvements over the many years. We're looking forward to doing that in the coming weeks after Season 1 launches, and we'll also make it a part of our ongoing discussions with the community, the Call of Duty team. The coming weeks are turning into months rather quickly, and we still haven't heard anything. Activision's silence on the subject gives people's imaginations time to work and come up with some crazy theories like skill-based fog and hit detection, or that buying bundles gives you easier lobbies. I don't want to give Activision too much credit, but these do sound a bit wild. So I wanted to explore this statement piece by piece, ask a few questions, give a few opinions, and see what happens. One of the first things they said was, "Nothing is more important to us than the experience players have with the game." It took them a year and a brand new game to make changes people wanted after the Modern Warfare 2 beta. If they were really interested in giving players a good experience, they would actually listen to our feedback and make the changes we want, especially after a beta, which is supposed to be there to have players play the game and give their opinions. For years, Call of Duty betas have been demos more than they've been betas. Some things might get tweaked, but the game is basically how it'll be at launch. The beta will give a lot of people just enough hope that the game will be better at launch, and all the people who've decided that it's their purpose in life to defend Activision will repeat over and over online that it's just a beta, so we can't complain. Then all these players that were on the fence buy the game, only to be disappointed that nothing changed from the beta. Call of Duty doesn't want to make a good game. They want to monetize as much of the game as they can to make you spend as much money as possible. Everybody out there buying their $30 cosmetics and weapon blueprints are incentivizing them to only focus on pushing out new skins and emblems instead of fixing the game. But they don't have to worry about fixing it, because even if the player count was cut in half, the half that was left would be buying enough bundles to keep the franchise going. All of us that have been playing the game for 10 to 15 years are being kind of pushed away for this new player base that just shoves money down Activision's throat and sweats through every match. Because of all the monetization in the game, they don't care if the player count drops as long as enough people buy the game when it comes out. Which just leads me to one more thing somewhat related to this. Call of Duty multiplayer should be free. Multiplayer is monetized in the exact same way as Warzone and every other free-to-play game, but you pay $70 to play it. It also is the best way to level up guns for Warzone, so if you actually want to compete with the sweatiest players running meta weapons, you will really want to pay $70 to just buy the full game. The only reason it isn't free is because people are so used to just buying Call of Duty every year, so they don't really think twice about it. If Call of Duty was new, there is no way they could make it a full price game. Then, after explaining that they have been working on the matchmaking for a long time, they say, "Our approach combines latency, search time, and skill, along with many other factors, to try and find the best match experience for you." What are the many other factors? The only thing they finally admitted here is that skill goes into the matchmaking. I was always a big fan of the team balancing from older Call of Duties. There would be a wide range of skill on each team, and before the match, the teams were evened up. This made every game a little different instead of the sweat fest it is today. You wouldn't do great every game, but you always had the feeling that you could have a good game every once in a while. You also could tell that you were doing better because your stats would get better. Now, if anybody complains about the matchmaking, they're just told, "Get better" by the Activision defenders who might work for Activision and patrol the internet saying the exact same things to people over and over. Or maybe it could be AI with how unoriginal all these comments are. And that is how easy some of these theories come to be. Now, the matchmaking tries as hard as it can to keep you at a 1 KD and a 1-win loss, so you never know if you're actually getting better, because you are constantly matched with better players. No one can be too good. Now, if you are too good, which I know I'm not, according to the internet, I am slightly above average to above average. Sometimes I might be considered good, depending on the game. But if you are too good, you are just immediately accused of hacking. But that is also just because there's a huge hacking problem with the game. Some people have told me that how many bundles you buy even goes into the matchmaking. They claim that people who spend more money in the game get easier lobbies. Who knows at this point? I really don't think it would have been that difficult to add even a couple of those other factors to this list and briefly explain how the matchmaking works. We don't need a super in-depth explanation right away, but what they said just doesn't mean anything. It was just enough to keep everybody quiet for a little while, so maybe they could come up with some good way to spin their matchmaking or see if the community forgets about it. Now I'm even beginning to wonder if they will actually say anything else, or if they'll just try and ignore it like they have for the last few years. Then they said, talking about this topic in detail can be hard, and we haven't spent the time to pull together all of our work to share with you our insights and improvement over the many years. Again, I don't need a full in-depth breakdown right away about how the matchmaking works. I am fine with a simple explanation. I know there are probably some things that can't be simply explained, but I could ask a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist to explain something to me like I'm 10, and they could probably do it. The fact that they can't put out a statement as long as this that actually explains how the matchmaking works tells me that either something sketchy is going on that they're scared to talk about, and they can't figure out a way to spin it and try and cover it up, or they're as incompetent as we all think and don't have one person out of the thousands working for them that can break the matchmaking down into a quick statement. They also say they have improved the matchmaking over the many years, but nobody ever used to have a problem with it. To me, that means they have made it worse. They end by saying, "We're looking forward to doing that in the coming weeks after Season 1 launches, and we'll also make it a part of our ongoing discussions with the community." I don't know if they're using weeks like people do with newborns, but I don't want to wait another 50 weeks when the new game is out for them to explain the matchmaking. I know it's hard, and somebody will have to do some work, but at this point, I guess at least they've said that they would talk about it. Now we just have to keep reminding them as much as possible that they have not said anything. I was slightly optimistic last year when I first saw this statement, but the more time passes, the more I think they really don't want to say anything. We already know that the better you do, the worse your connection will be. Is this only the tip of the iceberg, or is that all they do? Just put you with players from the other side of the world and not give you teammates to try and bring your KD closer and closer to that one that they desire? Years ago, we had the supply drop fiasco. Call of Duty was getting children to gamble in their predatory in-game mechanics, so they definitely aren't above anything. Even though you could at least unlock supply drops relatively easily by just playing the game. So many people seem to think they know everything about how the matchmaking works. I had a guy telling me that I suck, saying that it only looks at your last few matches when trying to find you a game. And some people say that it takes your stats from the last few years. I would lean towards the last few years side because I had a .38 KD after my first 4 hours in Warzone. I was only getting killed by sliding Y wires with Interstellar. The longer the Call of Duty team waits to talk about this problem, the crazier people's ideas will become, and they will cement themselves so deep in their beliefs that even if Activision fully explains the matchmaking and there isn't skill-based fog or hit detection, or you don't get put into easier lobbies by buying their overpriced bundles, I don't think a lot of people will actually believe them. They will just say they're lying and dig deeper into their theories. I don't play much multiplayer in the new games. I just go back to the old games if I want to play multiplayer. But I do think Warzone has taken a step in the right direction from Warzone 2. I still miss Warzone 1 and will never forgive Call of Duty for taking it away from us, but hopefully, with the change in leadership at Activision and Microsoft at the helm, things will change for the better. Treyarch has had a long time to make this game as opposed to the 16-month Sledgehammer had to throw together Modern Warfare 3 while being slowed down and told no at every step by Activision and Infinity Ward. Call of Duty used to be the go-to game to come home and relax. Now, that is impossible thanks to this broken matchmaking. Hopefully it's explained soon and possibly changed. Until then, let's just keep reminding Activision and Call of Duty that they still haven't said anything. Like the video if you enjoyed, let me know what you think, and tapping the subscribe button would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And it's free, so why not? Right? I'm not going to charge you $30 for nothing like Activision.